Welcome to the pilot episode of Hacienda Life. In this episode, we're going to give you a bit of background about the golf resort of Hacienda del Alamo. We'll talk about some of the things that you can do on HDA and in the surrounding area. We'll also have a catch up with one of the members of the golf club to give you a bit of an overview as to what it's like being a golf member at HDA. On Hacienda del Alamo Golf Resort, which is near Murcia down in southern part of Spain. So this is our first episode. And I've got, I guess, what I would say, two of the local celebrities that are on HDA. And that's Simon and Toril.
Hello.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening.
Well, and Simon and Toril are owners of Simon HJ Homes, correct in that?
Correct.
Who are some property specialists here on HDA. And I go back, 4 years, I think, when I was looking to buy a place over here in Spain. And I had absolutely no idea. I hadn't even heard of HDA. And I travelled all the way up from Puerto Banús, which was about a 4.5 hour drive. Came all this way because I had an appointment with Simon to see a townhouse. And I came here and I looked around. The place was dead at the time. Do you remember? I mean, it was in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, absolutely.
There were tumbleweeds all over the place. And I just thought, well, okay, but it looked gorgeous. The place is well kept. And I just thought, well, it feels nice. It's just not many people here. But that was to be expected because it was COVID. And anyway, Simon took me around. I came to look at this townhouse. It wasn't what I was looking for. So he the knowledge that he had took me all over the place into some apartments, a penthouse, and I settled on a small sort of what is it, Simon? A sort of two bedroom.
It's a community villa.
A community villa. It's got a community pool with it, and it was it's a nice place, and yeah. But what impressed me was Simon's knowledge of the place. So how long have you been here, Simon?
My relationship started with Hacienda probably around about the year 2000 when I was selling it off plan. I was based at the Manga Club, and this was one of the up-and-coming resorts that we were selling off plan. I was probably coming here during the off-plan period, maybe 5, 6, 7 times a week with clients. It offered great value for money. Out in the countryside with a fantastic golf course.
Okay. And was it just a bit of history about HDA? Did it start off busy and then went quiet, or, I mean, how did it... Wait, so when people were buying off plan, had they sold everything off plan?
So everything in phase 1, which was about 200 units, was sold off plan before they were even built, before the golf course was here. We used to come up and it was farmland and lemon trees and almond trees. They all sold off plan really well. The prices were going up weekly because of the demand for the properties. And then phases 2 and 3 came online and they were selling quite well. And then when phases 4, 5 and 6, which were the Hacienda Hills, Los Olivos, Spanish Village and Oasis developed communities, they all sold well. But during the build period, there was the subprime problem that came across from the States, and basically the bottom fell out the market. So even though all of the properties were sold originally off plan, when clients were coming to complete on phases 4, 5, 6, they were actually pulling out.
Wow. Okay. Which, for people like me, I guess we ended up getting a good deal.
Well, yeah, but you're in phase 3, so they were already built, and the golf course was here, and there was some facilities online. But it was those guys that were buying off plan in the later stages where the price had really increased that there was the problem because of the subprime and the lack of lending.
Wow. Well, it's interesting that obviously COVID didn't help. In terms of people here on site, and that's when I moved in because, again, I guess I got a good deal. But one of the things that struck me was, obviously, it was pretty quiet. What do we do around here? Now, I follow Toril and Simon on Facebook, and you all can. just go in there and search for them, and you'll see they do an awful lot. He does some great videos for his properties and everything else. But the other thing I like about them is, as I mentioned, they're kind of like the two local celebrities, and they're always out and about. They're always going to different restaurants around the place. So one of the subjects I wanted for this podcast was really to help people that, like me, who don't live here, but when we do come out, we want to be able to go, well, okay, where else can we go? We've got some great restaurants on site, but if you want to get out and about, where do you want to go? So I'm hoping, Toril and Simon, you're going to be able to come up with a few good recommendations for some good restaurants and things that we can do around here. With that, in terms of what we've got on site, there's like they've got, it was called Leo's, which is now Lockie's, I believe.
Lockie's.
Yeah, and that's really cool. It's really busy. We've also got Fairways, Menno's. Who else have we got? Amazonians, Harvey's, Pam's Kitchen. So that's improved a lot. Over the last few months, and some of the units here are sort of picking up. So if anybody is thinking about, a great place, value for money, get yourselves down onto HDA, come and ask for Simon, right, or Toril, and they'll show you around. And like I say, they've got some great things that are out here. So I've had a quick introduction there to Simon. Toril, tell me a little bit about you. Right?
Me.
How you ended up here. You're not a local.
Oh, obviously not. I'm Norwegian.
Okay.
And I have been here since the beginning. I'm like a museum. Everybody knows me.
All right.
For good and for bad, I guess.
But how did you find HDA initially? Because, and why move from Norway?
Yes, actually, we bought off plan in 2003.
Okay.
My favorite thing is I'm social and I love to wine and dine.
Yes.
I do like sports too.
Okay.
Of course, there's so much to do here. So I came here as an old dream from my high school period where I was introduced to the Spanish language.
Okay.
So I got this dream living in Spain, my old days, enjoying la vida buena, which I am doing.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good point, actually, because when I was over in Malaga, right, everyone speaks English, right?
Yes.
And typical English people, and I'm sorry, I mean, it's not everybody, the majority of us, we come over here and we expect everyone to speak English. And one of the things that struck me about around Murcia and HDA is, it's quite a like a farming area, isn't it? And
it is.
And the people don't speak English.
No.
Very, very little anyway. So if you're coming here and expecting it to be, I can just carry on talking my normal English and everything else.
Yeah.
It's not that you're going to struggle, but you really should learn the language, because you'll get on so much better if you know the.
Oh, life here is so much more fun.
Yeah.
Some Spanish words can't tell the difference. I am struggling with English too, so I can go for the Spanish then.
Okay. And are you fluent in Spanish?
No, not fluent. Simon is. This language, Spanish language, is the local here. Murcia is Murciano.
Okay.
Simon is really good at it.
But people here are really friendly though. Even saying that, I mean, I was at I go to there's a little coffee restaurant place by the church in town. I don't know.
Correct.
What's it called?
Buen Yantal.
Okay. And I go in there and they don't speak any English.
No.
But the owner is brilliant because he's teaching me Spanish, right? So we communicate really well, and he's teaching me a few words here and there. So I find that the locals, and especially if you show that you're trying.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. They love us.
Yeah.
When we do that.
Yeah.
So, but what we have found over sort of since I've been here for now 28 years, and what I've found is that the locals realise that there is business to be done with people from Hacienda del Alamo.
Yeah.
And so our generation, they're not speaking English, but what they're actually doing is making sure that their children speak English.
Okay.
So they can help them with the various businesses.
Okay. Well, that's good. And in terms of the split of people that are on the actual resort itself, Okay. Have you got an idea as to maybe, what nationalities are here, the split of it?
Yeah, that's interesting because we are really international here.
Right.
We have Aussies, we have people from Australia.
Well, okay.
Even. And the newest one there, they just arrived and they found us on Facebook.
Okay, cool.
Mrs. P and Mr. P.
Yeah.
And they came. And here they are.
Brilliant.
Both and enjoying it very much. I think the Women Association, they are counting like 35 different languages, actually.
Really?
So, English, yes, is maybe number one, but it has become more Germans,
Okay.
Belgium, Holland, Iceland.
Okay.
Iceland, they're very cool.
And
So-
everything kind of centers around, would you say, the Spanish Village? So the people that don't know HDA, when you come on site, it's quite a massive site, and you come through the gates, and it looks pristine, right?
Yes.
We call them the lollipops. They're like the little trees that
Yeah.
line the road, and they're always well manicured. And you come in, and then you sort of, you, as Simon mentioned previously, there's a phase one. There's lots of different phases, but then there's a place called the Spanish Village, which is where Simon's business is, and it seems to be where most of the businesses are. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the plan.
Right. And so that's, I guess, is where the center of everything is. And then you've got, a few little places like Harvey's who are maybe sort of, 20-minute walk, 15-minute walk from here. But this as a center, it's like a little hub. Right.
I love it.
And
It's Pueblo Español.
Yeah.
It's like built around a square, like all kind of cities in Spain are kind of built like.
It's the local village, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And as beautiful as I think it is and gorgeous, it does have, though, sometimes things could be better, I think, right? If I'm being honest. So I'm going to talk from someone who comes here occasionally, and I am a golfer, and I think one of the things that I found was a bit of a disappointment, but I think is changing, was the golf course, right? Because when I first came, the golf course maybe wasn't in a great state. It needed a bit more water because it's a very hot part of Spain here. They don't get much rain, although last week I think we had the rain for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And so the golf course and the clubhouse, I think the clubhouse is gorgeous here. But I think they've had some challenges in the past with the ownership and everything else, and it can be challenging sometimes, when you're there to maybe get some food and drink and everything else. Certainly after a certain time, it kind of shuts down and everyone goes to the sort of hotel. Is like
Service minded, yes.
Yeah, am I right in saying that?
That's true.
I mean, I'm hoping, and I'm certainly hearing that things are improving. So they're investing a lot now in the golf course. So maybe in 6 months' time, that's going to be back to a championship golf course, which is what it was always planned to be.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know you play, Torrell.
I have my equipment, yes.
And so what is it? I mean, I've only played that course maybe 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Right? You play what, every week?
Yeah, we have 3 times a week competitions.
Okay.
And added to that, we have for women 9 holes competition Mondays. We call it Cava Club.
Right.
We play first and then we drink cava.
And just for the listeners, I mentioned to Simon and Torrell that I used to have, and I'm resurrecting it, is another podcast called Where Common Sense Fails, and I haven't prompted them for this now, but I'm going to ask them the question, right? Thinking about common sense failures, right? Have you got any stories, maybe from the golf course, where you've had a few common sense fails? And I'm going to ask that because Simon should know, because he takes the pictures, right, of all these competitions and everything else. So I'm sure, Simon, if you dig deep, there must be some where you've got some great pictures, or someone who comes on. You know that kind of scenario where they come onto the tee, they've got all the gear, you think he's going to hit it miles. He looks the part, and then he misses the ball, or he slices it off into the rough, or it goes in the water, and you kind of sit there and think, yeah, I mean, that happens to all of us, right? But come on, Simon, there must be some.
Well, I suppose the classic is when gentlemen are teeing off, if they don't actually hit it as far as the woman's tee.
The woman's tee?
Yeah. So if you don't hit it as far as the woman's tee, apparently you have to take your shorts off and put a skirt on.
Okay.
Now, there is one chap who is quite a good golfer. Maybe I won't mention his name. I think it was a competition last year. It might have been St. Patrick's. And he was lined up and teed up and ready to go and was going to smash it down the fairway and didn't actually make the woman's.
I shouldn't laugh because I've been there, right?
Yeah, we've all been there.
And let's just say, how far is the woman's tee from where he was teeing off from?
Woman's tee, it's at least 10 yards.
Well, I was going to say,
you didn't even make the tee.
you could have hidden his embarrassment and said, "Oh, it's 100 yards forward," but no, 10 yards.
No,
gosh.
But, and he loves the pictures I take of him, but I wasn't allowed to post that one.
Oh, okay. But you don't play though, Simon.
I don't now. No, I used to. I have played, but I'm not a player.
Right, okay. And in terms of other courses, though, around here, it's not just... I mean, this is a beautiful golf resort. And when that course is finished, in terms of, they've put in some new irrigation and everything else.
A 1.2 million investment in redoing the irrigation system.
Yeah, I mean, and that's going to make it an absolutely stunning course again. And I think, those people that have played it in the past need to get back again because, it will be a stunning course, completely different to what they've had in the past. But also, there are a lot of other courses around here. Lots. So I mean, you mentioned La Manga before, but I guess that's quite expensive, isn't it, La Manga?
Well, it's relatively expensive, but there are 3 courses at La Manga. I think probably, and the exact figure, but maybe 35 different courses.
Really?
Within Murcia.
Wow.
So from Aguilon?
Aguilas.
What's the course? Aguilon? Aguilon, which is in the south of the region. Up to, what's the one just above Murcia?
Lorca. What do you think?
I'm doing the distance between the two. So what's the one that's just outside Murcia city? Can't remember what it's called. But,
Altaona.
Altaona, which is, 35. There was the big thing about the Polaris World. And the Polaris World had, when Hacienda came online, selling off plan, Polaris World was created by a local Spanish businessman, and they had 6 or 7 golf courses and still have. So that's Mar Menor, La Torre, what was Las Terrazas de la Torre, El Valle. They also have another golf course at Condado, Alamo. Las Serenas is now called. But they had huge plans which never actually fully came to fruition. So maybe with the upturn in the building, there's a possibility that Polaris or the people that own Polaris will start building new golf courses.
And that's interesting because we'll come on to some of the new developments that are happening here at HDA. Because didn't you tell me that there was plans to have a second course at HDA originally?
Originally, yes. So down in, I suppose if you want to say that what's currently under development now with all the street lighting, roads and construction or houses built on, it would be Sector 1. There is actually a Sector 2, which is probably building there for about 3,000 units and a second golf course. But if that happens in my lifetime, I'll be very surprised.
Well, I mean, like I said before, I keep saying it is a beautiful place here. And like I say, as a golfer, then there's tons of golf places around here then, right?
Yep.
So again, get yourself out here. There's plenty of golf to play, right? And it's sunshine. I mean, we're recording this now in the second week in March. I came out 2 weeks ago for a few weeks. And last week, I've got to admit, last week, I've never seen rain like it, right? It just threw it down. I think I had a pool in my backyard, and I've never seen rain like it. But that's exceptional, isn't it? I mean, because it's quite a dry place around here. But this time of the year, you're always going to get some rain, right?
Yes, well, once a year.
Once a year.
Nice.
Wow.
So they call it Gota Fria.
Right.
When it has been, for instance, a very hot summer, which is a usual thing.
Yeah.
And in the fall, they come that massive rain and flooding has been bad. Some areas has been really, really bad up in Valencia region and also here in Alcáceres.
But this is exceptional, wasn't it? I mean, this is not.
Yes.
This is not for people listening in. It doesn't happen all the time.
No.
This was literally once in a kind of.
Well, I would say once every year or once every 2 years. Generally, we get the rain in March.
Right.
Funnily enough, last year, beginning of March, the sun was shining, temperatures were rising. We're all getting shorts and t-shirts out again and thinking, woohoo, it's summer. And then come May, we had it late. So we had a week of just rain.
Wow.
So it does happen, but we do need it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because this place in the summer is pretty hot, right? So July, August time, it's. Certainly when I've been out here, I spend quite a bit of time in the house just with the air conditioning on, right? Because it's warm, it's cooler in the house. Because when you go out, it really is quite hot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of things to do on HDA, we touched on the golf course, but they've also, and correct me if I'm wrong here now, or if I'm missing anything. So we've got a sports bar which has tennis, which has paddle. Is there anything else?
A
tank. Okay.
Very popular.
Lawn bowls,
right? Okay.
I think it's the Mazaron Lawn Bowls Club that actually plays here.
Really?
Yes, I think so.
So Mazaron is a resort which is probably about 30-40 minutes away near the sea, and they come all the way from there to
play lawn bowls.
Wow! Because I must admit, when I first came here. And I thought, it's near La Manga. A few years back, I'm talking, maybe 15, 20 years ago, all I remember about La Manga was all the Premiership clubs used to come down here. The Liverpool FCs and Aston Villas used to come and do their sort of warm weather training. They now go to Dubai and everywhere else now, I guess. But there used to be a big artificial football pitch.
Where, here or La Manga?
Here.
Here, there is a football pitch. The football pitch pre-COVID was actually rented out by Sareb to a promotion company from around the Malaga area who were going to promote this to big clubs that were going to come out, use the hotel, use facilities. And obviously, during COVID, it all went to pot. And the company that actually rented it disappeared because they weren't getting business.
Yeah.
And sort of Sareb never sort of really got back on top of that. But there is a pitch there. But having said, at the Manga Club, I think they have about 17 pitches there. And maybe not the UK clubs go there, but there are a lot of Scandinavian clubs that do winter training there. And I do remember when the England team went to the Manga Club pre the World Cup. I can't remember what year it was, but Glenn Hoddle was the manager. I was working at the Hyatt there at the time, and that was the year that Gaza didn't actually get to play in the World Cup.
Did he drink the bar dry though?
He drank the bar dry, he was crying and he was kicking off and all. A real mess. But I do remember Glenn Hoddle being there. I can't remember the year, but Gaza was very, very upset.
Wow. Well, that would be kind of mid to late 90s, probably.
Yeah, late 90s. Probably.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been 90. I came in 97, left the Hyatt in 98, so it was 97.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And then in terms of facilities again, when I came here, it was mothballed, but the Sheraton, was it Sheraton?
It was. No, actually, it was going to be Amelia.
Okay.
It was badged as Amelia. It was set up to open, and apparently before they opened, Amelia bought themselves out of the contract and had to pay 2 years rent to do so, and that was around about the €2 million mark.
Gosh.
To buy themselves out of the contract.
Because just before COVID, they had the was it the Amateur World's Golfing Championships here or something, or the European Championships?
We had lots of competitions here. I'm not sure about between COVID, and we did have Q School. I think it was Q3.
Right.
So that's where they come and play for their European card.
Yeah.
But then with the hotel, never opened. Then a little bit before COVID, it was badged and opened as a Sheraton.
Yeah. So, it had great plans, but it's not that now. It's been owned by, taken over by a company called Owner, I believe. Is that
yes.
Right? And just to put the record straight, it does pitch itself as a hotel and spa, but at the moment there's no spa. So if anyone's coming out there thinking, you make use of the spa facilities, I believe that's coming.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So I don't want to sort of oversell it, but it doesn't yet have a spa. The facilities are there, they just haven't reopened it. So but it will come, hopefully.
Yeah, I would have thought so, because obviously with the sale of the 1,200 plots to a single developer who's now started developing on the resort, they're obviously quite keen to talk to the hotel, quite keen to talk to YouGolf that run the golf course, because obviously the success of their building is dependent on a centre like a hotel with a spa with a decent golf course.
Okay. All right. Now, I touched on this before, listeners, and I've kind of prompted Simon and Toro on a few things about what they should expect and everything else. And I've noticed he's got a few notes written down in front of him, and I've told him I'm going to set up his own little feature. Right, so between the two of them, they've got their own little feature, and we're having the jingle made as we speak. Although it's not here yet, but I'll inject that. But it's going to be known as Simon's Top of the Props, of which he gets 30 seconds, and that's all, right? He's got 30 seconds to give us his top 3 properties that he's got on the market, right? With a bit of a teaser maybe to get you to come in, if you're looking for a property, to come on down. So Simon, I'm going to time you, right? You've got 30 seconds from now to give us your top 3.
Simon's pick of the props.
So, starting at number 3, we have 16 Brazil, which is a detached villa on its own plot with a private pool, large outdoor entertaining space, and ideal for full-time living or a holiday home. At number 2, we've got a community villa, 5 Bolivia. It's a beautifully maintained 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom villa, private garden front and rear, and access to a community pool. But this week's number 1 is our penthouse in Al Oasis, 40 Malaysia. It's a stunning 2-bedroom property with a private splash pool, spacious terrace with fantastic open views, and this one has lift and stair access, which is quite unusual for Oasis.
Do you know what, everybody, right? That was a bit more than 30 seconds, right?
At 45.
I'll let you off though, because it's your first try. It's your first try at doing it, right? But not bad. So I would say to everybody, if you've got any sort of desire to come out here, now honestly, you need to come out, speak to Simon and Toro, hunt them down. They're easy to find, right? He's on the Spanish Village, or look him up on Facebook.
Yep.
Which is what, just Simon?
Simon HJ Homes.
Are you on Insta or?
Don't actually use Instagram.
Okay.
But I am.
But go and have a look on Facebook. He's you can tell, right? He's got a new toy as well. So I've been watching him for a while, and they always do great videos. He doesn't talk on them. He has music on them and everything else. And just recently, as a sort of drone pilot myself, I've been sitting there going, has he got a new toy? Because all of a sudden his videos have started to get this kind of panoramic and cinematography kind of, zoom in and zoom out, aerial shots and everything else. I'm thinking, I think someone's gone out and bought themselves a nice little drone. What have you got, Simon?
I've got a DJI Neo.
Okay.
Which was actually not the most expensive, but it's 4K, has a limited flight time, but for what I'm using it for, I only need 3 or 4 minutes of actual flight time to get the shots that I require.
But it sets you off. No one else is doing it.
Nope.
So, it's good. So there you go, everybody. There's a good sort of a bit of a pitch there for Simon and Toro, and get yourselves down here. And all they do, and the other thing as well is, others here offer things like rentals and everything else. You guys focus purely on sales, right? That's all you do.
Yes, only sales.
Okay.
Specialists in that.
Yeah, okay.
Well, during the COVID, or just after, we decided to actually sell the resort, not only selling a property. We wanted to sell the lifestyle and the dreams come true.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. And then during that period, we had so much fun and made so much silly things as well, which was enjoyable. And we do that once in a while still.
And for when we come down here, so for if you're here on site, you know, the local businesses do seem to make an effort to entertain people. So, for example, yesterday at Lockie's, used to be Leo's, they had a singer and some music, live music here.
Sunday.
Oh, on Sunday, sorry, yeah. On Sunday. So most weekends, you know, either Harvey's or Lockie's, they get people down, they have live music, or there's like a little disco kind of thing playing. So there's things to do mainly in the summer months. Right, so maybe from sort of March, April time through to sort of September, October time, right? So there's always things to do there. So I think they you know, and we try and support them as much as we can on that kind of stuff. But what do you do? What I want to get to know, and I want the listeners to get to know, is what does Simon and Torrell do for fun? Right, so okay,
That might be edited out.
it's got to keep it clean. Got to keep it clean. We can't. But you know, you've lived here from the start, right? You know, you've got your business on here. You know, it can't all just be work, right? So, what do you do to relax, to get out there, and to just have fun?
We do support the resort a lot. So
Yeah.
we do take part in all these events they are creating around, and we have a bunch of friends. So it's actually joyful just to be here. However, when we can have a little bit resort fever, we go to the beach, we go to the sea. We have an apartment by the sea in La Manga Strip,
Okay.
and that's like a staycation.
Okay.
Last weekend, when it was pouring rain, we decided to do something else. So we went to Jumea. I love wine. I love the knowledge of wine, and all the bodegas and winemakers up there are amazing.
Okay.
So we had a fantastic weekend at Casa Boquera, which is a Norwegian-owned hotel and vineyard.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Okay.
And then we come back, and then it's good to be out, to appreciate what we have home.
Now, a lot of people, certainly when I tell them at home where I am, and I'm 20 minutes away from the beach, you know, it maybe puts some people off because they go, oh, you know what, I want to be by the sea, I want to be by the beach. I personally don't. Right? Because I like the fact that for me, it's like living out here. So when I come here, it's like home from home, right? But it's nice. So I would say you've got to have a car, right? If you want to go.
Definitely a car.
Yeah, you've got to do stuff. But there are plenty of beaches around here. You're only 20 minutes away from the Marmanor beaches.
Yes, in the circle from all the beaches around, like Puerto de Mazaron, Bolnuevo, or you go to Cartagena.
Yeah.
Beautiful beach in the city, just outside the center, and you have the Marmanor all around both sides, and you know, it's so much to do here that you don't have enough time.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. The Marmanor is how would you describe the Marmanor? Because it's not the, well, it is the sea, obviously, but it's not. It's kind of enclosed, isn't it? So it's very calm, very flat.
Yeah. So there is a sandbar that cuts off the Marmanor from the Mediterranean. Marmanor means the smaller sea. It's almost like a lake, but it is connected to the Mediterranean. And the great thing about that is for water sports and that type of thing, because it's relatively calm.
Yeah. And again, we're not a million miles away. I mean, I at the weekend went up to Torrevieja. Yeah, I've never been before, but you know, you go there. You can even go. God, where else have they got within sort of maybe an hour? Alicante is about an hour away.
And it's beautiful.
You know, so you go there, and I guess an hour past that you've got Benidorm. if you really wanted to sort of go and have a bit of a party, but it's like 2 hours away. But that's just to give you a flavour as to where we are around here in terms of, in Spain, right?
But I suppose the big difference here is the actual travel time. If you're saying you're taking 45 minutes to get to Torrevieja, it doesn't matter what time of day you're going. If you're saying you're taking 25 minutes to get into Cartagena, it's not like being back in the UK as I remember it with the traffic jams, and didn't try and get there between 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning because you'd be queuing for hours. The road network here is really good. We have a great connection to a dual carriageway from the resort, and there's no problem travelling, there's no problem driving. We very, very, very rarely sit in traffic jams.
Well, okay, so and just to kind of back that up, I drove down from Bilbao a couple of weekends ago. It took me about 8 hours. I did it in one go, a couple of toll roads, but I got out of my car at the other end, and it was not one traffic jam, and it was just straight through. So
amazing roads.
It's brilliant. Although, but then the flip side is, and you've got to expect this anyway. I took my partner back to Alicante Airport yesterday, and we had to be there for 10 o'clock. So we got caught up with a little bit of traffic around Murcia.
Always.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's rush hour traffic. You get that in any city, right? But no, I agree with you, Simon. I think all the roads are brilliant. They're dead quiet, and it's just stress-free. It's stress-free driving.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
and we don't have the 30, 40, 30. How fast am I supposed to be going? Do I need to slow down? Is it 90? Is it 30? Is it 60? Here, it doesn't change like in the UK, or is what I remember. And certainly my last impression of driving around the M25, what is this thing that they have all the gantries with the different speeds?
Yeah, no.
I don't understand that at all.
No, so it is a completely different way of life, everybody. And, I've kind of taken early retirement, and apart from the stupid Brexit rules, which mean I can only spend 90 days out here in 180. I wish I could come out and spend more, but no, it's actually a lovely time out here, and I'm looking forward to getting to know more and more people and to do more and more stuff. So between the two of you now, I'm going to ask you for one tip each for what would you recommend for people to do or consider when coming out here. Is it learn the language? Is it
learning the language is absolutely a great idea.
Right.
And down in Casa Cultura in Fuente Alamo, they offer free teachers to learn the language.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I have done that.
Right.
Amongst lots of other people coming from other countries.
Okay.
So, what do you say?
Well, I would say that, the great thing about the Murcia region is to have somewhere like Hacienda del Alamo that when you enter, it's clean, it's tidy, it's neat, it's well looked after, it's secure, but it really is the gateway to exploring the Murcia region. And we've touched on a few things. There are beaches, there are bars, there are restaurants. You can go to Cartagena. There's the old Roman amphitheatre that you can look round. Murcia is very up and coming, 6th largest city in Spain. With the old cathedral, Plaza Beluga. But then, the whole, and me, both of us are still exploring after 20 years, that we keep finding things to do.
Well, I had early on in this podcast, we had a new feature that we've called Simon's Top of the Props. I'm going to create another new one now, which I hope is going to develop as we go along, and it's going to be Toral's Top Restaurants, right? She doesn't even know this now. I've just literally sprung it on her to say, because they go out on a lot. These two, obviously, as Simon just said, they're still exploring everything else. But one of the things that I like about them is they always post new restaurants that they go to. So, Toral, this is going to be your little segment now, and it's something that I hope, if we get to the next episodes and keep going, it's going to develop, and you're going to come up every episode with maybe a couple of 2 or 3 great restaurants that people can go out and have some great food?
I can definitely do that. Well, Simon and I, we love to do that as a couple. But
Okay.
also, what is fantastic with Hacienda del Alamo is the environment. I have so many lovely ladies, so many friends, and we go out for lunch.
Okay.
We live by the day. We don't need to wait for the evening.
Okay.
So
That's good.
we take taxis
Yeah.
to try out different restaurants in the area. Not more than maybe an hour in a taxi.
Okay.
We do that too. So we love that. And
So give me your top 3 that you've been in the last couple of months.
well, Brutal Wine Restaurant
Oh, and
in
I can
Fuente Alamo.
and I can recommend. I went there on your recommendation after seeing
Oh,
it,
did you?
and it was gorgeous.
It is.
It can be a bit pricey, I think,
Yes.
but it's good.
But
The
I would
food
love
is
to-
fantastic.
Oh, but the wines by glass. That's my top. When I can have beautiful wine by glass, not
Okay.
in a bottle.
All right, I'm going to come back on that in a second. I'm going to let you get the other 2 out, but I've got something to ask you about
Yeah.
how they do the wine here.
And Cabo de Palos is a little fish, little town by the end of La Manga Strip.
Oh, okay.
Or the start of La Manga Strip. And they have amazing restaurants. I can talk for hours about those. The last one,
Sorry, did you say that was a fish restaurant?
oh yes, fish.
Many
Many.
Okay.
The newest one is Puerto Fino in the harbor there.
Oh, okay.
Stylish, fabulous food and wine by glass, and a special atmosphere, I
Okay.
must say.
Well, I mean, and my other half, she loves fish, and she can't get over how fresh the fish is
Oh.
out here.
It is fantastic. I love fish too.
Yeah. So honestly, anybody get out there, get the fish around here is just good, and even in the supermarkets.
Oh, yes.
Buying the fish there, it's just super fresh. But going back onto the wine thing, right? And I don't know if this is everybody that does this, but when we were at that little, the little coffee house again, I forgot where it is, by the church, we asked for a glass of wine, and the guy just brought the bottle and just put it on the table. And and you just filled it up yourself, and then I don't know how he worked out how much you used, right? But you didn't have to finish the bottle, and you just went, oh right, yeah, you've probably used about 2 glasses of wine there.
Yeah.
And is that what everybody does, or is
It's good places where they make you feel friendly and welcome. They do that.
they just leave the
Show
bottle?
you trust.
Yeah, it's
I want
amazing.
you to feel welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, that's great around there. So I think we're coming to the end of our first episode, right? Because I've got to let these 2 get back to work. They've got properties to sell. And he's probably looking and thinking, "Come on, Chris, wrap it up." But what I'm hoping, everybody, is look, this is the first time we've done it. So it's going to evolve, hopefully, as we go forward. I'm hoping Toril and Simon are going to be regular co-hosts with me, what we'd like to encourage is feedback from anybody. So if anybody's got anything they want us to cover, or they want to come on and have a little bit of a guest spot, happy to do that. Or even the local businesses who want to come in maybe and get a little sort of talk about it, come on in. Let us know.
Idea.
Follow us on our socials. I mean, this is actually being done through Funky Bear Productions. So again, you can search for that on socials, and it will be there. And it'll be put out on all our socials. So on your Facebooks and everything else, we'll put links to it. And like I say, it's the first episode, hopefully of many. Look forward to the next one that we're going to do. And like I say, any ideas or any feedback, just let us know. Final say, you 2, anything?
Fantastic, Chris. Thank you very much.
Well, it's a start, right? And
Opportunity.
and he's
Yeah.
gonna, you know what? I'm going to turn these 2 into
sorry.
radio
Yeah.
stars. These 2, as if they're not famous enough, right? We're going to get them. They'll have their own radio show soon as well.
One of the best thing with Hacienda, you see, is you never walk alone if you don't want to.
No, exactly.
It's a very caring and good environment.
Yeah, it's been great. And like I say, I come out here mainly on my own because my other half is still working, unfortunately. So when I come out here, I am made to feel really, really welcome. You don't you don't have to stay on your own. Everyone's really friendly out here and happy to show you around. So can I just say, you two, thank you for your time. It's been fantastic. I look forward to the next episode. I don't know how often it's going to be. I'd like it to be regular. Yeah. So maybe at least once a month. All right. But if we get it more regular, it'd be even better. But we just got to think of the content and everything else.
Super.
All right.
Viva la vida.
Cheers. Thanks.
To get in touch, leave us a WhatsApp voice note on +44 7503 061 799. That's +44 7503 061 799. Or text us on the same number.
Brought to you by Funky Bear Productions. Follow us on our socials @Funky Bear Productions.